Alright, so today I want to talk about a game called EverAfter Falls. Now, I do have to thank the publisher of this game, Akupara, and I really need to throw out a special thank you to Xavier, who works over there. He's part of their PR team. He is awesome. I really appreciate him, and I'm just glad that Akupara in general hasn't gone to outsourcing these interactions to a bigger conglomerate like Keymailer or one of those for reviews and things of that nature. So anyway, enough inside baseball. Let's talk about EverAfter Falls. But before we get into that, please hit that like and subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It means the world to me, and I can continue to keep doing these reviews and the giveaways like I've been doing. There might be one in this video. I think at first sight, people will just easily dismiss this game as just another cozy game. It sort of does have like a blend between Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley going on, with a much bigger emphasis on combat than either one of those games, especially Animal Crossing. And also, your pet, your buddy, they sort of help you in many different ways. They're not only something that you can rely on and teach them skills for combat, but they're also basically a lot of your gardening tools as well, which I think is really cool because it doesn't drain your stamina. Now, there is no stamina, but still, that was a big issue in Stardew Valley for me, was just always getting tired, especially early on. That's not an issue with this game. There are, though, some things that hold you from staying up all night, but we'll get to that later. First, just want to talk about the fact that this game is not Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing in many ways. One of them is the story. This game has you waking up from a simulation where you're returning to a village that you've been to for quite a while. You know a lot of these people, but for some reason you've just forgotten everything. Apparently that simulation had kind of messed with your brain. And now you are finally back to this peaceful world where everything is amazing and perfect. I mean, sure, there's hard work, there's dungeons, there's a lot of things going on, but it's still like the best place you can think of, a place many people would fantasize about living in. Almost like it's too good to be true. But I'm not going to go any more into the story because I don't want to ruin anything. I also don't want people to believe that this is like Inscription or something, where it literally redefines meta. It's not that, and it's not nearly as unsettling. And in fact, you can get lost in a lot of the different characters, the NPCs, the people that sort of make up this world. You can almost forget that there is a different objective because you're just trying to get your legs under you. You're trying to get your farm going again. You're trying to make money and really trying to craft many different items to help your experience out, to help you make more money, to help your farm grow. And if you've played a cozy game before, you understand the mechanics that go into it, so I'm not going to waste your time talking about farming and mining and cutting trees and all that stuff. But I will say, at some point, you're able to access drones and you're able to automate a lot of these systems for you, and that really opens the game up because, like I said, there's something more than all of this. In fact, there's different dimensions. There's dungeons for you to explore. I say dimension, it's like a portal, but you're able to go and actually explore these dungeons with a lot of enemies, you with your trusty pet, armed with the different skills that you can teach them. This in itself is its own really fun world to explore, find different loot, and just to fight enemies in general. And honestly, I feel like this really opens up the game as well, because there is a point in time with a lot of cozy games where it gets kind of repetitive and a little bit slow. I'm not saying that that always happens or that that's inevitable, but I'm just saying that there's some times when you want some action, you want to mix things up a little bit, and that is right there for you. It is much more intuitive than you have in other cozy games because they really lean into this action RPG aspect. So this gives itself like a little bit of like a dungeon crawler mixed with all of that. And honestly, I really enjoyed that and ended up spending a lot more time doing that than I thought I would, because I do love cozy games and I really do enjoy and am entertained by those mechanics. But the more and more I explored, the more I got deeper into these dungeons and fought these enemies, the more curious I got and the more compelled I got to continue going further. So there is a lot in just that area. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go too much into the mechanics. One thing I will tell you though, just a little bit of a hint, help you get forward if you decide to play this game, and that is, at the very beginning of it, you do hit a little bit of a brick wall, and that for me was the crafting, because there was a certain item that you need that I couldn't figure out how to get, and that's the brick. You see, very early on, the brick is sort of a catalyst to really gain momentum with crafting, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. Now, one of the things that threw me off was I was expecting to need a crafting table, but you don't do that. In fact, you have a lot of crafting recipes already on hand. The thing is, what is important to do is read. And of course, I'm not a great reader because, well, I'm not very bright. But when you go to certain resources, it'll actually just tell you what you can do with them. And one of these things was seashells. You can find them by the shore, and as well as other things like sand dollars, which are also important later on as well. Although you do notice that you need a way to crush these seashells, and the best way to do that is with the shell crusher. And that's actually pretty easy to make. I believe it's just like wood and grass, I think, which is really easy things to find. It might be wood and stone, I can't remember. It probably makes sense if it's stone. But again, all these things that you can easily find, and then once you do that, that makes a brick. Then you're able to start working on things like a furnace or a spinning wheel, which then you can make rope, and really the game just starts opening up after that. But it was just that one part that sort of slowed down my momentum, and I don't think a lot of people would have that issue, but I just figured there's my good tip for the game because, again, it was an issue for me. Now, most of the game, too, that I found really impressive was the fact that it isn't just about crafting, farming, combat. Actually, collecting pretty much everything in this game and presenting it to the museum or to the giant aquarium in the middle of the town is another great goal to have for this game. It just really makes the game more interactive, as well as allow you to really put your stamp on this town. Now, the other thing too that I have to say is there's many different events to participate in, which also shake things up. One of my favorites is one of the very first ones you actually come across, and it's duck racing, where you take rubber ducks and you race them. You'll also notice in this game that there is a lot more technology, and this for me was a really good move because a lot of these cozy games are pretty simple. They're the basic farming kind of games, where you're working with things like rope and stone and wood, and you're just crafting these things, which is great and a lot of fun. But this one allows you to expand further with technology, and you can create things like drones, which you can then have them handle some of your more repetitive tasks, like watering plants and taking care of the farm in general, while you go to the dungeon and kill bad guys and hunt for loot. There's also the ability to work in your village to help your fellow NPCs and to strengthen relationships. And this opens up opportunities for different events, rewards, and even to get into the lore a little bit depending on who you become close with. Now, as with a lot of cozy type games, the graphics aren't amazing. They're serviceable and they look pretty decent. In fact, I think the character models sort of remind me of like Mii's, like from old school Nintendo, where they kind of don't have joints, but you don't really notice. It doesn't take away from the game at all because this world looks amazing. It's very vibrant, detailed. I appreciate some of the finer details, the ability to be able to see like worms and butterflies and things of that nature that are also important to your collecting for the museum. Also, just in general, most of the world itself is gorgeous. Now, I will say the dungeons, they lack a little bit, but you would kind of expect that. As far as performance, I had no issues at all. No lagging, no stuttering, no crashes, nothing of that nature. The music is also really good, and I think it fits a cozy style game where it doesn't pop out at you, but it really fits the game. Like, it is just like a nice complementary piece to a relaxed type game. And I'm also happy to report that this game is only $19.99, so it doesn't break the bank. And in fact, right now, if you get it, it's only $17.99 with a 10% discount. I believe that goes on for a little while. I will be honest with you guys, I have not beat the game because there is just content upon content upon content, and I do think this is one of those games that if enough people get into, this could really blow up, just because of some of the stuff I was talking about with the story, some of the uneasiness that is in the game, but as well as just how fun it is and what you're able to do. I think that there's an opportunity for us to revisit it at some point in the future and just kind of talk about some of that, but I don't want to ruin the story right now or anything like that. But I will say that that personally, I really like this game and I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10 with very little downside. I would say the combat could be a little bit more intuitive. There could be some more option when it came to that. Sometimes it just feels like you're hacking and slashing, but I don't really expect much more than that because I feel like that was more than a lot of the other games I've done. So I'm not going to complain too much, and ultimately, yeah, I recommend definitely checking this game out. Nothing else, putting it on your wish list and maybe waiting for a sale. But ultimately, I'm curious what you guys think. Do you like cozy style games? Is this a game you're interested in? Have you heard of this game? Anything and everything in the comment section, including what you're playing, what you're looking forward to, any of those things, always appreciated. I love each and every one of you guys. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.